Perfect. Thank you, Mary.
Do you want to go first, Mary?
For hosting it. Yeah. Go ahead, Mary.
Sure. So I think Doug just joined us. Actually, we'll confirm that.
Doug SB. Connecting to his audio, it says.
Yes. So I'll pause while we wait for him to join.
Okay. Sounds
Here.
good.
All right. Hi, Doug.
Hi.
Hey, Doug.
Hi, sorry.
No worries. We're just getting started, so you're good.
Okay.
If you want to turn on your video, you can, but it's not a requirement. But...
Okay, I'm just going to be here by voice then.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we're going to have some introductions from our two visiting participants in the meeting.
Yes, and I'll start. My name is Mary Vesley. I started with the city of Ripon 4 months ago. And I've been in the HR profession for almost 10 years. And my role here with the city under Adam is a communications and HR generalist. So I help with all sorts of HR activities from, recruiting to onboarding to handbook policies, benefits, help with some payroll administration as a backup, communication-wise, social media, press releases, anything
Impressive.
Thank you. So it's been fun here so far. I love it. So I'll turn it over to Claire Ellen. Thank you.
I'm Claire Ellen Summersmith. I'm the director of the Winnifox Library System, which Ripon Public Library, as you probably know, is part of the library system. My role is just to provide insight and consultation. That's what I do as my role as Winnifox director. And I have helped many libraries go through the process of hiring a new director in various capacities, either just posting the job on library sites like the Wisconsin Library Association website and the Winnifox website. I can do it at that basic level to all the way through the process of I'm on the search committee. I help evaluate applications. I sit on the interviews and offer my insight as a librarian and as a member of the library system. So I'm just here to introduce myself and to answer any questions you have about what the process will look like as it goes beyond what Mary can offer through the human resources piece of it with the city of library specific things, or if you have questions about any training or interim director duties or that kind of things, I can answer those questions. I emailed with Mary a little bit, and so I just wanted to share and present my face as well.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here. We do have an agenda. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And as far as the, Mary's going to keep minutes for me. And as far as participation, we have, all of the board members are here. We do have one vacancy, so we are sitting at 7, and we have 2 guests that have introduced themselves. So Mary will provide that data as far as who's here. The second piece of business is for us to formally accept the resignation of the library director. So I would need a motion for the acceptance. Everyone has in their packet the August 23rd letter from Desiree to, I'll read it to you, to the Ripon Public Library Board of Trustees. This letter is to formally notify you I'm resigning as library director. My last day will be 4 weeks from today, Friday, September 20, 2024. Ripon has been a very special place. I have learned a lot during my 19 plus years. I will especially miss the staff and the patrons. During the next 4 weeks, I'll work to wrap up my essential duties and train other staff members as needed. I wish the library continued success. I look forward to visiting in the future, especially once the renovation has been completed. So I'm looking for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
So a motion was made by Doug, and we need a second.
Second the motion.
Lisa second the motion. All in favor of accepting the resignation letter from Desiree Bongers dated August 23, 2024, signify by saying yes or aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? No opposition. Passes with 7 affirmative votes. Okay. On to item number 3, which is to talk about establishing duties and compensation for an interim director. And I'd like to give a little bit of background regarding the activities that I've engaged in this period since Desiree tendered her resignation, knowing that we would need to have someone that could ensure the day-to-day functioning of the library. I don't believe we are looking, this is just in my opinion, we're not looking to hire or find someone who's going to be qualified as a library director. We're looking for someone that can ensure the smooth running, functioning of the day-to-day of the library. Desiree provided me with a list of her essential duties, and there's a number of items in there that are truly administrative, things like submitting the payroll to the city every 2 weeks, creating a schedule once a month for the part-time people to include the pages to make sure that all of those shifts are covered. You know, of course, attending our meetings, approving invoices, and then there's things that are at, you know, a higher level. For instance, attending Winnifox meetings, attending meetings with the city or with the county, performing staff evaluations, all those kinds of items that we would not need to have that activity take place between now and when we hire a new director. And I believe that, you know, our time frame on hiring the new director is probably, hopefully, before this year is out. And so, given that set of circumstances and that information, and talking with Janet about it, we thought that, and getting feedback from the city, we thought that Susie Mank, one of our, you know, trained librarians, could possibly be the right person for that position. And I had 2 pretty lengthy conversations with Susie, and it was clear to me that she was very, very reluctant, that it was more than she felt she could take on with her full-time responsibilities and the programming schedule that's been laid out for the next 90 days that she has and Linda has on the children's side. And so with a further thought process and then in these conversations, another name came to the surface, and that is a non-librarian, but the next person really in the hierarchy at the library, which is the circulation supervisor, which is Ben, I don't know if he says Sprague or Sprague. Does anybody know?
Sprague.
Sprague?
Yes.
Is that, yes, thanks, Lisa. Is that Ben is really the go-to guy on the day-to-day stuff for the non-professional staff. So we've got our two trained librarians that are running their programming, and then we have all the folks that are involved in the day-to-day operations of really, you probably focus it more on circulation, dealing with patrons, dealing with the interlibrary activity, those kinds of things. And then of course the pages. And he has, I had a lovely conversation with him and told him that we were trying to ascertain who would be willing, because this is a willingness situation, because you're asking someone to take on additional responsibilities besides the job that they're already doing. And his very first comment to me was that he certainly would be willing. He said that he has the most flexibility in his day as compared to the librarians and their programming schedules. And he said, and it was a very positive conversation because he spoke about things in very much of a team approach. He said, we have this very full programming coming in for the next 90 days. And he said, the librarians are going to be really busy with that. He said, I have more flexibility in my day and an ability to shift things around or postpone something because doesn't have that, scheduled requirement like scheduled programs do. He has in the past, when Desiree was not available, whether vacations or maternity or other situations, he has handled things like invoices. He did take care of all that information around us changing our phone system. He's very involved in obviously all the stuff with the computers and the day-to-day activities that are going on there for the daytime shift. So in conclusion of all of that, knowing that we've got to bridge a period where we want to make sure that there's a smooth running organization, it seemed that he is a logical candidate to take on this, what I would not call interim library director. I would characterize it more as an interim administrator as opposed to the library director. It's a different kind of scope of job. Handling some of the essential duties that the library director performed, but certainly not all of that higher level stuff that she was doing. So that's what I can report to date. And so could we have a discussion about it?
So I did talk to Susie today, and I think she is willing to do it. She did have some questions she'd like answers for, basically, what the compensation would be, but then also, I think it was more about, would she be able to, if needed, is there extra hours from some other people that would be allowed to fill in if they're short of desk time and or delegating duties if needed. So she is willing, and I do think she's a better candidate for it, like you had first thought. So I guess I'd like to also put her name forward for it.
Susie Mink,
Yep.
thank you. Yeah, she might. That was your first recommendation, did you say, Mary, was her?
I can't see anything but the top of your head, my friend. Okay. It was coming out of the box that she was the person. And as I said, I had two very lengthy conversations with her. They were not brief. They were at length. And there was a lot of objections that she had and a lot of concern. She's been an interim director one other time, and it was a bad experience. This is what she shared with me. And I think that what we need is different than a library director. I don't believe we need a library director during this, hopefully will be not a very long period of time. And it's more about the operational day-to-day activities that need to be covered. This is my opinion. I've never run a library. I've run businesses. And so I take more of that point of view. And I don't see that a master's in library science is what we need today to cover the gap that exists and the things that need to be done between now and when we hire a new person. And I didn't get a feeling in my 2 conversations with her that she was enthusiastic. There was never in my conversations the words, yes, I would like to do this. That never was said to me. It was actually the opposite. So given that, I just went into the next, and I had spent some time thinking about it. So my next call was to talk to Ben just to see what his willingness was. And that he's kind of more of a day-to-day operations guy as opposed to a professional librarian. I'm just trying to look at it from a function point of view and what needs to be done. And it seemed to me like he was a better fit for that. He's not going to be managing those professional librarians. That's not what needs to happen here. Those people do their job on a routine basis. And on the list of essential duties from the existing director, that was not part of the essential duties. That was not listed to me as being of significant import in what she does and viewed as her essential functions.
Mary, I agree with you. We were just looking for the day-to-day functions, and Ben can hit the ground running in doing that. And there's not a lot of training. There's not a lot of, we don't have to worry about the upper level functioning right now. We just have to keep things going while we have some time to do the search. So I do agree with you on that.
Okay. Lisa.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're looking strictly from an administrative standpoint, Ben actually was the first person who came to my mind because I think he is very sort of practical and can handle the day-to-day operations. I also wonder if Susie isn't particularly enthusiastic or has some concerns, and she has a busy schedule with the program that's coming up. She may be willing to do it, but is she going to be? I think your word of enthusiasm is a good one, because we want someone who can kind of, hit the ground running and also just sort of maintain the status quo until we can get someone in there. And if she feels like she's being pulled in too many different directions, I fear that her programming will suffer.
Yeah, that was my concern. And the other thing on a personal level is that she has a grandchild that's going to be coming in the next couple weeks, and she is very much wanting to be able to leave and go and spend some time and do that. And I just think I think it was in her, you're always trying to balance all these things, and I think it was going to be a push. And so that was my reaction. Doug, how do you weigh in?
Let's see here. Gotta find my microphone.
Oh, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Doug.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Yep.
Oh, did I turn the mic on?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm fine with Ben running the show day to day. I just like to say one thing. I think all communication for this should have gone through Mary, and individual board members don't really need to go and speak to the potential interim directors or administrators. I think that should have just gone all through to Mary. We don't need to speak to anybody. If we had said, like, why don't you talk to so and so, I think Mary would have done that. But I think we all need to speak with one voice and not splinter stuff up. Okay, but I'm totally fine with Ben running this until we get something going and hire someone as a director.
Okay. Al,
Yeah,
what's your position?
well, I got out of my truck and so I got cut off, but
We're talking
But,
about, Ben versus Susie Mank. I don't know if did you get to hear any of that?
a little. But I'm thinking if we're just looking at administrative duties and those type of things, that Ben may be the best bet with his flexibility, his experience. That'll leave the librarians able to continue to do their programming and their day-to-day stuff too. So
Okay. All right, Mr. Breck.
Yes, after hearing the discussion, I think Ben would be the preferred one for a couple of reasons. One, he said, he expressed willingness. He expressed that he thought he would have the time, that he's more flexible. And hello?
Yeah.
And when I used to use the library more often, even though Ben was doing his daily activities, he always had time to also assist with computer or IT requests. So yeah, I think he could handle it.
Okay. Okay. The second part of this conversation then is regards compensation for this position.
Can I ask a question first? That agenda item is to establish duties and compensation for interim library director. It's not that we select one. That wasn't the agenda item that I understood.
Well, we're gonna select one because we have to keep moving, Janet. We are going to select somebody today. Yes, we're gonna vote on that. Yes. Because we don't have time to not have an interim administrator in place. We have to get that moving.
I'm just curious why it didn't state that in the agenda item then.
I assumed that was what was going to be done myself.
It was an oversight. You know,
Okay.
if you're going to use that as a reason not to vote on this tonight, then, you know, have at it. But that's certainly the intention, to keep this thing moving. So that's up to you, Janet, if you want to make an issue out of it. Compensation for the interim, or for the administrative interim, we'll have to come up with the appropriate title. Administrator. You know, what kind of an hourly bump do you think is appropriate to compensate this person, knowing that they're right now, probably, I think any one of these people is making anywhere from $12 to $18 less than the library director. And it's not a library director position. So I think it's more about what's a fair thing to compensate someone for when you're asking them to do their job and take on additional responsibilities. Can anybody comment about that?
what's his current salary or hourly wage?
Mary, do you have access to that?
Yes, I'm looking.
Okay, thank you. I think it's in the high 20s, I want to say 20. He and Susie were making a similar amount of money. Al, we'll get it. Mary will find it.
Yeah, that would help us if we could find that figure.
Yeah. Just, I can't think of, I should have had that. I apologize. Salary information. Wait, let's see. Hang on, people. We'll find it. Should be in the budget, maybe in the budget worksheets, maybe.
No rush.
Shoot. Okay, I found the work papers, but I don't. Hmm.
Mary,
It's still
Mary,
Yeah,
Mary,
Yeah.
I believe that information, and I don't have it in front of me. Was
I found it.
okay,
okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, so Ben's annual wage is 51,491. And that converts to 24.76 an hour.
okay,
And we're looking at Susie's next. She's a little below that, 24.33. So Ben 24.76,
okay.
Susie 24.33. So they're both around that 50,000, 51.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
All right, Al. So that's where we are right now.
Okay. What percentage of duties are we looking at? A 25% more increase in duties, or 10%, or what are people thinking along those lines?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good
Well,
question.
yeah, he's gonna have to take care of the payroll. That's twice, that has to be submitted twice a month. He has to create the master schedule. That's done monthly. Dealing with invoices that come in. Trying to think of what else would be affecting his, he has many shifts on the desk, and I talked to him about that just from the standpoint that he would have to remove himself from some of those shifts working in circulation to provide for time for these other activities.
That brings up a question I have, Mary.
Yeah.
Breck here. Would his extra duties be expected to be done in-house in the library, or could some of those be done at a home computer?
I think you'd probably want him in the library doing that.
Okay,
So yeah, the key functions the library director performs. I'll just review these for everyone. Payroll bi-weekly, invoicing bi-weekly, the scheduling for the staff and the pages monthly. We apparently deposit the fine money that we collect. That gets deposited weekly. I know from talking to the city that they'd be happy to come over and pick that up. The ordering of materials, books, CDs, large print, DVDs, that's an item that I think we could probably defer during this period of, and not have to be ordering any additional materials for our collection at this juncture for these few months.
I just would have to express my dismay with that, because that's going to skew your budget then. You need to spend your budget for the year for those materials. You don't want to delay that.
Well, we'll see how much of that budget is left that hasn't been spent. We could certainly ask Desiree to put together a plan for what else should be purchased this year before she leaves
okay.
to address that. I don't know how much money is even left in that line item. I don't have that in front of me. But we
Do you
can.
see that Claire Ellen has her hand raised to speak?
Oh, okay. Hi, Claire Ellen. Sorry.
No, and it's fine. There was a couple things that you guys are chatting about that I thought I'd just jump in of, there's no requirement that you have to pick one person to do all these duties. So if purchasing, for example, that would be a great fit for Linda and Susie, because they are the adult and children's librarians, for example, as a task. I just want to put that out there, that
Okay.
Yeah.
there's no requirement to say you are our person and our only person.
Okay,
Second is Winnifox has substitute librarians on staff. So if you are intending that Ben goes off desk duty, you can have somebody come in from Winnifox who's trained on how to use the circulation. If you
okay,
want to budget for that as well, for that, and they're only $12 an hour.
Okay.
So we would just need a schedule of that so we could plan somebody out.
Good.
okay. That's awesome.
So that's a possibility. I think one of the, other than basic duties, as I hear you talking about the basic payroll and the biggest piece, and I'm sure Desiree mentioned this, is the budget. That is a massive undertaking. And I think that, I don't know your staff, who's the best fit for that, but.
Our budget's already been put together.
Okay.
Yeah. And any presentation that would need to be made to the city, we can, as the finance committee, present to the city if there's additional issues around that. But I do appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Fortunately, the lion's share of that work's already been done. So
Okay.
we're in good stead. I love this. I love that idea about the two professional librarians taking a look at what we have left to spend and figuring out what to do with that. That's fabulous.
Because sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
As Janet mentioned, if you underspend this year, your county funding will go down in the following year. So it's really hard in these transition years. So it is a good point to try to get as close to your full budget as possible.
Okay. Okay.
Because it affects your cost per
Yeah.
cert.
Yeah.
The other big piece, if your budget is all set, that's huge. That's great. My other question, other than, would be disciplinary actions. If you have a person who, and I think that, I don't know how much that has been highlighted by Desiree or not, is Ben the best person? And again, I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
To handle when somebody needs to get fired, needs to be disciplined in some kind of way.
I think what we would do, and this would be the case with whoever was sitting in that seat, I think that would have to involve the human resources department at the city. Would have to get involved in that process.
Right. They could just contact me and we can work through it. So there will be guidance there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it was a very minor infraction, like somebody being late, then probably Ben could handle that, right?
Right, because it really requires just documentation. It's basically the key when it comes to performance issues, is documenting it and tracking and things like that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Claire Ellen, about that. And that's definitely something in terms of a process in place so that this interim administrator can feel comfortable and supported if there were a problem. Is there anything else that sticks out?
Not in the immediate, no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. The other items were preparing for the library board meetings, monthly, and attendance at meetings, staff meetings, city meetings. Of course, the library board, the Winnifox, which is bi-monthly, quarterly with the county, quarterly with the Friends of the Ripon Library. So I think in this interim period, we can manage that. The budget, the annual report, which is due January, February, and hopefully we'd be in a position where we had a new director and that could be handled at that time. And then there was Janet, you can probably speak more to this, the Giving Tuesday campaign, which is done annually.
Nope, I don't know anything about it.
Oh,
Except
you
that
don't?
I got a letter.
Oh, okay. So that's a fundraising activity. So given that list of things, Al, does that help with thinking about percentage of activities?
Yeah, I'll get the ball rolling. I'm thinking at 20%. He's at $25 an hour. We put him to 30. That's a 20% increase in salary. as an interim. That comes out to, you're looking at an annual salary that would be $62,400.
Okay,
Who just spoke?
Al did.
Okay, thanks, Al.
Is he already working 40 hours a week? He is, Claire Ellen. Yeah, yeah.
$30 sounds like a good figure to me, Al, as well. That's what I had in mind.
That's why he'll need to, in order to try to contain it within the 40, he'll need to take at least 2 of his 4-hour shifts out of the schedule. And either staff it with the existing staff, or if need be, Claire Allen, come to you guys for a substitute librarian to backstop that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, okay. More discussion around that $30, people? Okay. I think we're in a position to make a motion regarding the establishment of the interim administrator position, with the intention of offering the position to Ben at an hourly rate of $30 an hour. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
What date is that effective?
What date is that effective? Excellent question, Al Schrader.
You've got Desiree there till the 20th.
Yes,
So would it be effective Monday, the 23rd of September?
or do you want some overlap? Where you allow him to take over and she's there as a mentor
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
for a week or 2 weeks, or I don't know. Good point. Let's talk about it. Thoughts, people?
Okay, I'm gonna have to leave the meeting pretty soon. But I'm fine with Ben starting immediately at that. And that if Desiree wants to leave earlier than that, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
point.
okay. If you gotta
Good
go,
point.
Doug, that's okay. We'll just go on with voting without you. Okay? Or can you?
Yep, that's fine. I'm not quite ready to leave, so if you vote in
Okay.
the next couple of minutes, I'll be here.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Conversation about the start date.
I would think at least a week is needed just to pick
At
up
least-
some of the, duties and figure out, exactly how they're done and kind of get into that role.
Okay,
Desiree might appreciate, although she's volunteered to stay until the 20th or whatever, she might appreciate the offer of training Ben and then leaving sooner.
good point.
What if
So,
we started Monday, September 9th? That
Yeah.
would be a full 2 weeks for Desiree to work with Ben and get a plan together to move everything, keep everything moving forward.
I like it. Any
I
other?
do too.
Okay,
That you gotta have at least a week. I think 2 weeks is better.
2 weeks is better, because there's more things pop up. And
Yep.
and you need, and then you can say, oh, what about this? What about, yeah, it's just cleaner that way. Okay, so the motion, can somebody frame the motion, please?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that Ben Sprague be appointed interim administrator of the Ripon Public Library at $30 an hour. And that he be given 2 weeks training with Desiree. I think I got that about right. I'll
Yes,
accept any
start
friendly,
date, yeah, start date of September 9th.
I'll
Okay,
accept
I
that
second
as a
that.
friendly amendment.
okay. So so the second was Travis?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay, Janet's opposed. Okay. Duly noted. All right. Moving on to our last item. Library Director position recruitment and advertisement. I'm going to turn the floor over to Mary, the other Mary, so that she can present to us the work that she has done in this last number of days to help get us ready to go to the market with this position. Take it away, Mayor.
Thank you. And I just wanted to make sure that all are okay with me taking the lead as the recruiter, the coordinator, and kind of the face for candidates to come to if they have any questions on job posting, deadline, resume, applying, just kind of processes and timeline. I wouldn't be making any decisions. I would merely be collecting candidates' information, making a list. And then at that point, we can decide how we want to do the candidate review process. If there may be a personnel committee to review that, that's kind of the next step. But as far as putting the posting, advertising, putting on job boards, being the contact person, is everyone okay with me taking the lead on that? I just wanted to make sure.
So acting as a clearinghouse, if you will, for all of those activities. Yeah.
Well, thanks for
All right.
asking.
Yeah. All right. I just want to make sure we're on the same page with that. Again, just kind of the recruiter name on the list, but again, not making any real decisions, just providing information. As far as recruiting materials, the first thing we asked for from Desiree was the job description, and it looked like it was last revised in 2019. So what I did, Adam and I reviewed it, and we redid the position description so it's consistent with our city position descriptions, making sure we list like essential functions, kind of examples of work, physical requirements, kind of type of environment. So we've added that and it's in the packet. Everything is draft mode, nothing's final. We're very open to feedback. So is that something we wanted to go over, is look at the position description together? What do you feel?
Thoughts that people have about, have you had a chance to look at the position description?
Would it be helpful if I share my screen and we can kind of just glance over that?
Sure. I think that'd be
Okay.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
Has
pull
anybody,
that.
Go ahead, Breck.
has anybody seen this already, or is this the first time?
Yeah. No, it should have come out in the packet that you got, the email.
Okay, good.
Yeah. 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 Go ahead, Mary.
Right. So here, it's in a Word doc. It is draft mode. I'll let you kind of go through it on your own if you could see that, or do you want me to zoom in? Let me know. Just position summary.
I can see it, yeah.
So the
Okay.
library director responsible for, let's just say this is the executive summary, overall management and operation of the library, which includes implementing the policies of the board, overseeing staff and budget, managing the collection, and representing the library in the community. The director ensures the library services meet the needs of the community and that the library operates efficiently and effectively within its resources. The library director reports to the trustees.
The words you left out, you just left them out. You have the same copy I'm looking at, correct?
Yeah, I was just trying to,
That
summarize.
works. That
Yeah.
works.
Okay. Okay. So that's really the executive summary, you know, the big picture view of the key areas that the director is responsible for.
Uh-huh.
And then it gets down into essential functions, right? Implementing policies and goals, recruiting, hiring, supervising, evaluating staff and their development, the budget, capital improvements, overseeing the building and grounds, going to community events and representing the library, managing the collection and programming schedule, acting as a liaison to the Friends, the city, and other community organizations, assist the board with long-range planning and policy development to ensure the library meets the needs of the community, overseeing the implementation and maintenance of technology, public computers, digital, website, identify and apply for grants and coordinate fundraising efforts, develop and implement marketing strategies to increase public awareness and use of the library services. So it's very inclusive.
Sounds like a job any two people could do.
Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And then it's got some examples of work, you know, like what it means to manage staff, train, manage the budget, expenditures, what does that look like? You know, really sort of then more detail behind those key things, which is it's incredibly complete.
Yeah.
And then saying, what are the essential knowledge, skills, and abilities that the person should have? So ability to lead and manage a team, financial acumen, so being comfortable with the budget, financial management, strong written and verbal communication, skills in developing and implementing a long-term plan, focused on customer service, understanding how a library functions, including the collection development, making sure you're complying with any relevant laws and regulations, familiarity with the library information systems, the technology side, and then relationships back to the community. So then we're saying that this position requires a master's in library science or equivalent degree, a certification acceptable to the Wisconsin Department of DPI for a grade 1 library certificate, 3 or more years of experience, and then talks about the working conditions at the library. So Claire Ellen, maybe this is a good spot for you to weigh in and say what your opinion is of this position description.
It's excellent. It really is.
Okay, awesome. So
Good.
glad to hear that. Thank you.
The only thing, if you wanted to change something, which the degree is a master's of library and information science. That's typically what the degree is called now, but that's a very minor point.
Could you repeat that, Claire Ellen?
Masters of library and information sciences.
Oh, okay. Mary, you can do that, right?
Yes.
And there's not really an equivalent degree, so you could take out that section. They are required to have this specific master's by the DPI. Everything else about the job description and the duties, it fits very well.
Okay, perfect.
So I just have a question. Do I have my mic on?
Yep. Yes, you do.
Okay. So it's not that we've altered her job description. This is a position description developed just for recruiting, right? We haven't like changed the job description or accepted this as the official job description, correct? That's a different thing that we do later.
Had not considered that. Don't know.
So as far as the job description, we review the current one and then we pulled that information into this and added some consistency to it as it aligns with, best practice with job description, having work conditions.
No, I love it. I love it for what it is as a position description for recruiting. What I'm saying is this is not the library board approving a change in the director's job description. A different thing, right? Right?
You should probably have it approved, this job description approved by the board.
Yeah.
As the director's job
as the job description.
Okay, because it's called a position description here, and I just was confused about what we were doing.
Position, job description,
So-
same thing.
Would this be the appropriate time to vote to adopt this as the job description for the?
It might, I think if we approve it now, it could avoid confusion.
Yeah, but it's just sort of sudden, and just reading through it now and then having to approve it right away is a little sudden, I think.
Okay,
You can post it with the draft. I mean,
Yeah,
if you wanted to post a job ad, you could say draft on it. And then
Mhm.
there's not a,
well, or just
that-
call
just
it
transparency.
position description, not job description, really. I mean, it's what we're using to recruit the person. It's not like we're going to majorly change it, but I hear what you're saying. We wouldn't want to recruit them under this and then change it completely. You're right. Right, okay.
so does that mean we can adopt it or not adopt it?
I'm willing to adopt it. What do you think, Al?
Al?
I was gonna ask, HR Mary, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Do you have a pay matrix? And would the director be in a certain grade level?
Yeah, so that's also something up for discussion.
Okay, sometimes that gets put in the job description. This is a grade, like,
Yes,
Grade
I
6,
I
so that-
agree. It should
so.
be on there, but we have yet to discuss that, so I can add that piece once we agree with that, the pay range. That might be our next topic after we decide if we're ready to adopt.
Is that
This job
something we
des-
want to do today? We want to nail
Uh,
that down?
Our recommendation is to post this job early next week, so we do need to establish a pay range, as that's gonna be one of the top questions from candidates. And we want it to look attractive and maybe pull people in. So I guess that would complete a job posting if we have that figured out soon.
It's probably a good idea to make a decision while we have the expertise of Claire Ellen and Mary and everybody here.
If we're comfortable with, I appreciate that there's not a lot of, we haven't had a lot of time to wordsmith it, but after Claire Ellen's reaction saying that she thought it was excellent, and this is really her bailiwick, that gave me, a high degree of comfort that it's covered the bases that it should cover for this role.
Did we
Discussion?
did we have any, I guess, inclination to make any major changes to begin with?
Well, I don't know. Okay, so here's the background on that. Good question, Lisa. So at the very end of the last board's term, the personnel committee elected to not do a performance review, but they presented some revisions in the job description, and we elected not to vote on that because we were constituting a new board. So that's where it sat. And it needed to be, improved, uplifted. It needed, and that's one of the things, and Al can speak to that. That was one of the first pieces of action that was going to be happening in the personnel committee. Was to get that in a better state.
If
Mary,
there
I
are,
think I think what we need to do is the job description itself can go to the personnel committee when we meet in September. We haven't decided when we're going to meet yet. We can bring it back to the board of directors then at the September meeting and approve it or
Okay.
not approve it.
Okay.
But as far as the position description that Mary put together for recruitment, that I agree with everyone that looks very, very good.
Okay. Gotcha.
'cause
Okay,
they are two different.
two different things. Okay, okay. That sounds good. That sounds like that's more comfortable, and we'll look for a final product from personnel to vote on in about a month.
Right.
Okay.
In the
but we're-
meantime, does Mary feel comfortable to go ahead and put the description out there so people can see it?
I think we're gonna, after we go through the rest of the piece of what comprises the package of documents, then we can go ahead and say, give our approval. So that the job could get, so that we could get this thing posted. Does that answer the question?
Sure,
Okay,
thank you.
okay, Mayor, you want to move on to,
Yes, let me just go ahead and share my screen again here. Announcement. Right. Share job announcement. So this is the job announcement, which is kind of like a condensed version of the position description. Just again, the executive summary, qualifications. I'll change here to be a Master's of Library and Information Science. And then as far as the salary, our recommendation for starting salary range would be 70 to 80. The full accepted range that we've determined is 66,997 to 88,608. But I think between Adam and I, we were talking 70 to 80 would be an attractive starting salary range. It's not the full range, just kind of that starting range.
Claire Ellen, do you have a comment about the salary piece?
The only thing I want to say about the salary piece is that this is the piece that's so important for this board to approve at this time. I really appreciate the work that Mary and Adam put into preparing this for you guys. But this is the piece that's key on your end of responsibilities. And I don't know if in the advertisement at the top, you mentioned anything about the building project or about the anticipatory. I think that could be attractive as well. Or
I think, yeah, absolutely.
So I might highlight that. I also think there's a very strong friends group in the community as well, and that's another thing that library director or potential library directors like to look for. Is that they're part of a community that is used to fundraising, that's used to being financially supportive. You're doing a building project, so I just wanted to highlight some of the things that make Ripon different, or the exciting things that Ripon is doing.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something that we are putting in the job profile recruiting booklet, which I'll go over next. But this is just up. So I really appreciate that input, because I agree with you completely. What makes Ripon different is something key to share. But just back to the compensation piece, we did pull this off of the, what is it called? The survey. And this is a couple years ago. So that's kind of where we got the range from. If you look here, our size 5 to 10,000. This is kind of the range a few years ago. And we kind of just went off of that. And that's kind of where we stand with this. And I believe Desiree was at the very top of maybe 90.
Yeah, she was outside of that range.
Right.
Yeah.
So
After
person's
15 years, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Claire Ellen, could I ask you another question?
Absolutely.
Hey, I appreciate that, you don't want to weigh in and say, yeah, say this is the number you should have. I guess what I'm looking for is an indication if we're in the right ballpark.
That's what I was just pulling up, because I know I did the salary survey for you, Mary. So I was just pulling up that spreadsheet.
Okay.
And yeah, I think you're in good standing with that range.
Okay. Okay. Good to hear. Discussion, board members?
Well, this is starting salary, so
Mm-hmm.
this would be a good place to start. Flexibility could be shown the following years.
Back to Mary, the salary survey that I sent to Mary, your like-size libraries, the average director wage in 2022 was 76,000. So to give you context of why I'm saying it seems pretty in line,
Okay.
depending on the experience, I think you want to go to that top end of that range, and you're really
Mhm.
hoping. But Ripon is such an unusually sized community. Your guys are just big enough for requiring the MLIS degree but the library director still has to do so many front end things, non-administrative things of programming, and I bet Desiree even sometimes has to work the cert desk, that kind of thing. So
Okay, so given that information about 2022 peer group 76, are you saying that's the average? Claire, Alan? Was it
yes, and actually it's 76,900, so $77,000, 2022 among communities with municipalities between 5,000 and 10,000.
Okay.
And
So
that
there-
Okay,
So there's
About 7,000.
and you're at 7,000. That there are 27 libraries in the state that fit that criteria.
So do we need to boost up our salary range a little bit for start? Because that was almost 3 years ago.
right. Right. That
I
was,
don't know how much flexibility you have within your budget. I mean, you're currently paying more than that, so.
yes, right. Other thoughts about that, Travis? Al? Janet?
I guess it's the starting range.
Yeah,
So I, don't know how much more we need to boost it for the starting range.
Right.
right. Yeah, because that 77,000 is not, that's what those people were currently being paid on average. Yeah. Not, and you don't know what their longevity is and so forth.
Yeah.
Number.
Right.
Okay, that's a good point.
And it goes up to 80. So I think for starting, top is 80. I think that's fine.
Yeah. It's a good
Al?
starting point.
Yeah.
Right.
Starting point. Okay, Al?
Yeah, I think it's fair. It's all in the negotiation and
Mhm.
those types.
Okay.
If a blue chip person with tons of experience comes and those type of things, that's a decision that has to be made.
Yeah.
So, you don't know at this point, but I
Okay.
think that's fair. Looking at the numbers that were provided by the Winnifox folks, I think that's right in the range,
Okay, excellent.
personally.
Okay,
Just-
sounds like, go ahead.
Okay, and only because I just want to throw this point out there. As a job seeker, we want to attract the best candidates, and if they look at this and go, oh, 80 is the salary, like the top of the salary range, and they think, I mean, just based on my own experience, you don't get offered the top of the salary range, and we might
Okay.
be discouraging certain candidates from applying because they think that is the max and that they would not be offered that.
Is that why you put down, that's an excellent point. Is that why we say two things, salary, starting salary, and then full accepted range?
Mm-hmm.
So that meaning that the most the job would pay is 88?
Yes,
Okay.
accepted based on our paper for performance kind of tool that we use. And mind you, the library is currently doing the step, right? Step performance. So that's probably another discussion to have. But
So I guess right now the question is, with Lisa's point well taken, especially having just been out in the job search world, that maybe the range needs to be bumped up, the bottom of the
Mhm.
range. maybe we want to move it 5,000 to the north,
Mm-hmm.
75 to
75.
85.
See how that looks for.
But then our full accepted range. How important is it to have that on there, Mary Ann, Claire Ellen, the full accepted range versus the starting salary range, or both?
I don't think we need to add that. That's just for our information.
Okay,
So the candidate does not need to see the full accepted range when we're posting. The starting range is, I think, a fair enough transparency.
okay,
And maybe if they enter the role or interview, that might be a question we may be able to answer at that point, but that's my thoughts.
okay. Anybody else?
So the full accepted range is bargaining room, is that right?
Yeah, and whether or not we want to start, we want to keep it at 70 to 80, or do we feel it should be higher, or do we think that it's a good enough place to start?
You mean the 6697?
No, the starting salary range.
What we're advertising.
Well,
That
we'll
sounds
adver-
good. I thought we kind of approved that, 75 to 80.
Right now, we're looking at the way it's presented. We're saying the starting salary range is 70,000 to 80,000.
That looks good. Is that, Mary, does that fit within what you and Adam would approve?
Yes, I think
Okay.
we need to attract the top talent and be competitive, and I agree personally with this approach.
So then, Mary, on the full accepted range, 6697 to 88608, do we need to revise that as well?
Well, we don't have to for purposes of offering the
Just
job.
for our knowledge, I meant.
Mm-hmm. And it's a recommended accepted range. Nothing is final. That's just kind of
Okay,
from our calculator tool that we use. That was what we kind of framed out as a good bracket. So nothing's set in stone, but that was kind of what we came up with.
Well,
So to clarify, it's been changed to 75 to 85 from 70 to 80. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think that's what we have to decide on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say to everybody, okay, I'm gonna go person by person. What do you think the range should be, Al?
72.5 to 82.5.
Okay, Janet?
I like the 75 to 85, but yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, Breck?
now that Al said that, I'm going with his call.
Okay, we got two there. We got Janet and I on 75 to 80. Lisa?
75 to 85.
Travis?
75 to 85.
Okay, that's the number then. 75 to 85. Okay, that was easy.
Good.
Okay, then the last piece of Mary's presentation is the position profile that she put together.
I do have a survey too, so
Oh.
actually two things. So should
Okay.
we go over the survey first
Sure.
before we go?
Yep, yep,
Okay.
go for it. Yep. So you guys, I'll just preamble that. There's a library director opening feedback survey that has 7 questions on it that would go to everybody on the board, all of the staff at the library, and then Mary, is it to the key people at the city as well, or who else do we pull in to ask about this survey? Claire Ellen, maybe?
That's open for discussion. Who gets to fill out the survey? The library staff. Primarily, I think would be the most valuable feedback.
Yeah.
Who
Mary,
else?
Mary will share it up on the screen, you guys.
Should we kind of go over it first if it's good
Yeah.
questions?
Oh,
Okay.
sure, I think you should, because
Yeah.
we would need to agree with this, and then we would want to get this sent out because.
Right, the what and then the how do we distribute and who gets it. So I think going over the what. So what are we covering here? Optional for those who fill this out to fill out their name, position, number of years in the library.
Sorry, it's not,
We're-
it's not showing up on our
Oh,
screen.
it's not. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I
I hate
think
sharing
I
these.
picked which document to share and I didn't share. Let's start
Okay.
over here. Share. Okay, so we are looking at this. Here we go. There we
Good.
go.
Thank you. Perfect.
So again, the purpose is to gather input and build consensus on the desired candidate profile for the library director. So this is gonna really help us in recruiting the right candidate with the right skills, qualifications, desired background based on real feedback from whoever we distribute this to. So it's divided into section 1. This is optional. If whoever fills it out, put their name, position, number of years in the library field. Then going into candidate qualities, what are the top 3 qualities you believe are essential for the library director? Visionary leadership, strong communication skills, budget management experience, community engagement, innovative thinking, technological proficiency, experience in personnel management, or other. So they'll have to pick 3.
Okay.
Scale of 1 to 5. Oh, go ahead.
Who's taking this survey?
That's another question. That's the next question.
For sure, Breck, the staff
Yes.
of the library and probably the board of directors of the library.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you.
The
Yep.
key stakeholders.
Yeah.
Yes. So we have how important is experience in managing a diverse team for this position. You kind of rate Likert scale, very important, neutral. And then it goes
Mary?
into, yes,
Can I ask a question about that question? Is
yes.
the emphasis on managing, like how important is experience in managing? Or is it specifically managing a diverse team? I'm not quite, I don't know how I personally would have answered that
Mhm.
question. And so I think I need some clarification of
Yeah.
how
And-
important is, yeah.
Mhm.
I see.
And it's
what
open, yeah, open to thoughts. If what are we trying to get at with this question? So is any thoughts on
we're asking.
how we should frame this so it makes sense?
What are you trying to get at with the question?
Mhm.
Talking about a diverse employee group? Or are you
Yeah.
just trying to talk about how important is management?
Mhm. Yeah, I think what it's trying to get at is the inclusive mindset. Yeah, it gets into different abilities of staff. You get your quiet staff, you get your, dominant staff. How do you handle those differences? You get your older staff and the younger staff, and disability, like anything, when you think of diversity, the differences in teammates, any conflicts that may arise because of differences. So that kind of goes into that. So if it's confusing, we don't have to put it in here. It just kind of goes into how inclusive is
Could we
the
maybe could we maybe just say, how important is having experience in managing diversity?
Mhm. Mhm.
But managing diversity, because you're going to find that any aspect of the job, whether it's staff or patrons who come into the library.
Really good point, because you're going to be dealing with the public, the diversity of the public too, not only your team, but yeah.
Managing a
So,
population, is that what you said, Lisa?
Just managing
diversity,
Managing diversity.
If you put a
right,
period-
in general. And we can kind of refine that a bit.
Is that kind of vague to say, just leaving it with the diversity?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very broad term and it's open to interpretation. So
Could you
I
say,
wonder if we'll cover it somewhere else, you know, what are some top quality, and maybe we throw in inclusive leadership up here and that will just cover that.
Okay.
How about
There's an-
thoughts on that? Throwing it up here to question 2 and eliminating 3.
I think that's a good.
Because then we'll catch the same thing. We're like that inclusive mindset and caring about other people's differences and
Respecting those differences.
exactly. So I'm just gonna throw it in here and then you can kind of let me know how it looks. Inclusive leadership.
There you
Claire,
go.
Claire Ellen is putting out a question mark.
Oh, and then if we do that, we can delete this question.
Okay.
So that will kind of hit on the same thing and one less question. Thoughts?
Anything else about that?
How many total questions are on this?
Okay, good deal.
It'll be 6
Well,
now.
let's go over.
It'll be
If we delete it and I can put this back, then we're down to 6. So
Nice short survey.
So the
Mhm.
next one is, what specific areas should the director prioritize?
and
Select
this is
all that apply.
all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Strategic planning, community outreach, developing the collection, the staff development, training, technology, programming. What about fundraising?
Throw that in
Fundraising.
there.
Writing,
Mhm.
capital campaign and development.
So you want that all in one line, Al, or those are separate?
No, just
Yeah.
fundraising to include grant writing and capital campaign management.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
It's nice, Mary, you're able to make changes as we talk. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Put in donor management also.
in that, yeah, right, yeah, good point, Al, yeah.
All right. And I can finalize this and send it out again.
Good.
And we have an other section too, so it'll be like a open field if we
Sure.
missed anything else. Anything else with specific areas they should prioritize, the library director?
Can we go back to who to send it to? I think Claire Ellen had a great inclusion, the Friends, did we, or the RLA ladies, one or the other of those that
Both.
should receive it?
Or both,
first-
Yep.
Go to our friends organization.
yeah, go to the, yep, good point,
Yes.
that's really good, yeah.
And I'll finish going through this and then we'll establish who gets it, and I'll need contact information because I can distribute this too if you would like. So challenges and opportunities of this role, and then any additional comments. So we can like who gets or distribute.
So it'd be
Okay.
the library staff,
Okay.
everybody, full and part-time, you know, the entire staff.
Okay.
The board of trustees,
Mm-hmm.
the friends of the library, and then Janet, what's the name of that other organization?
RLA, Ripon Library Association.
Ripon Library Association. Who
How
else?
about, I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not even sure why the council, I don't
Oh.
know.
Sure.
I mean, they're setting direction for the
Yep.
city. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Is that capitalized in the council?
yeah. The city council,
City
Mary,
council.
yeah, So, yeah, there you go. Good.
I guess
Mhm.
then mayor, I mean, if he's included, he's probably included in that, but yeah.
Mhm. And this
Yep.
would be an optional survey, so the more we send, hopefully we get the more feedback.
Sure.
So do you want to say the city council, the mayor and the city administrator? Do we need to?
Yeah.
or- Okay.
Sure.
The mayor
I
and,
would
the-
incorporate the city department heads also.
oh, good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Awesome.
And perhaps the administrative team, the city clerk, finance director, maybe.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. So that's a city admin team.
Yep.
And when do we want to distribute this? If we're good with all the questions, I don't know if there's any confusion with the change that I made.
No, I don't think there's confusion.
So if we're good with the survey, now we know who to send it to. Now comes the when do we send it? And the deadline.
I think you send it on Tuesday, not before the holiday, because it'll just get lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
I'd say send it Tuesday and ask for the feedback. What do you guys think? 48 hours? 24
No,
hours?
no, you need,
Longer?
yeah.
A week, I think a week.
Because we can't post our position profile without the responses from the survey.
Oh, no, I disagree. I think this is
I-
informing our hiring, not informing our recruitment.
It's part of the opportunities and challenges for the candidate.
And we haven't gotten to that, but
Yeah.
maybe,
Oh.
we could put out something more abbreviated just to get the hype. And then as we go along the recruiting process, we can throw in new things like we're still hiring. Here's a brochure. So we may like add more to our advertisement when we're ready. We could use this as a recruiting strategy to kind of get more information out there, build
So
more
are you-
excitement.
So are you thinking, Mary, that then maybe we should move into your position profile to figure, maybe that helps to inform this when deadline? Because if we don't
Right.
need to include the opportunities and challenges for the position
Mhm.
profile, then you could give this more time.
Right, and okay, so this is a position profile or kind of a recruiting booklet to give you a deeper look into what the candidate might be signing up for. And I'm trying to
Share that.
get this, okay. So the cover page, so kind of a welcome, so a little
Not there
brochure.
It's not
Oh,
there.
Sorry about that. I keep only sharing one document at a time, not my screen. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go.
Mary, I noticed that applications, I think, will be sent to you. You're the generalist,
Yes,
the
I am
generalist.
the generalist.
Maybe you
And
should just call yourself general and then we could get some more command. The
There you
HR
go.
general.
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's funny.
Just
Sorry about this.
you're mild mannered, so maybe that's not.
Oops, I just did this. Sorry, I'm kind of messing with my pages here a bit. All right, there we go. Everyone see it okay?
Sure.
So again, this is like a recruiting booklet talking to the candidate and getting them excited about this role. A welcome page, kind of look, there was a strategic plan that was that Desiree shared with me too. So I took a couple things out of there too that was done. So kind of a welcome message, and then the executive summary here with some photos and now
pictures.
Yeah, so I took these off of Facebook, so we may have to look at what's allowed to put in this booklet. And then a mission statement. And this is a page that we can get information from the survey. But if we're not ready, we don't have to put this out
Okay.
yet. It's just,
Sure.
you know, maybe we do like a sneak peek. There's an opening. Here's just a job posting. And then this can come like the week after to keep the hype going, right?
Okay.
And then here I'll update this benefits and PERS, kind of like the benefits package.
There are a
And
couple
then-
spots, Mayor, where it's referenced as the Master of Arts in Library Science. So you'll just update that.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we'll fine tune that. So this is just draft mode, and we'll add some stats to this, giving the candidate a full picture of what they're signing up for, and then how to apply. And then the org chart, and then their regular hours of operation, and it may be the summer hours. These are the summer hours, so we'll have to change that once school starts, or I'm not sure exactly what hours we want to communicate to the candidate, and then their website.
Outstanding.
And then one more thing, so the job posting would be, I don't know if you could see that now that I'm,
Nope.
okay. I should
Normally,
just share my screen, not
Okay,
just
go
one thing
ahead.
at a time.
I
Go
just have to shout out the fact that my role often is what Mary's doing now for the really little library directors, because they don't have HR at their communities. And Mary, you're blowing anything I've ever provided out of the water with that. I've never seen the profile.
Oh,
And, like,
Thank you. I have some very helpful tools, so I can't take all the credit. So Canva, I use Canva, and there's some templates too. So
Well, you
I
should take
appreciate.
all the credit because it's fantastic and so timely and
Yes.
so
And-
professionally done. It's
Yeah, and you know what we can put out next week can just be this, like, hey, we're hiring. We may not have the booklet done, we may not have everything in place, but we have like the job announcement, an abbreviated version of the position, and then you know, the weeks go by, we like share more. We keep sharing more and getting the excitement up. So
And
as
where could I look for this to appear, like these things? Facebook or
Yes,
where?
so yeah, social media, and I know that there's a list of different job boards that we can promote it
Okay.
on, like the ALA, was it? Library boards,
Wisconsin.
LinkedIn, Facebook. There's a library Facebook page
Wonderful.
and city page, and our city website has a job ad, so everywhere and anywhere. And we're going to encourage library staff to share it with their network as well. So definitely, at the very minimum, we could share the job posting and then a job announcement with the pay range, and then yeah, as time goes, we can finalize the booklet, and it would be something we can add again and just kind of get the hype going.
Do we have a budget for, what do they typically do for travel expenses if they're coming in?
Good question.
So that would be another discussion for budget, like also posting it. Some job boards require, like, there's a fee to post it on certain sites. Like, is there a budget for recruitment and
We need to it sounds like we need to
mileage?
authorize a budget for recruitment.
Mhm.
Claire, Ellen, you got
I
your
was
hand.
yeah, ALA, it's about $200 to post a job with ALA, the American Library Association. I can post it. There's a listserv that goes to all librarians in the state. And that's just an email, so I can email that out. And I typically post things on the Wisconsin Library Association job page. That's free. So you're hitting it right on the nose of, do you want to do any paid postings or not? Or do you believe just searching within the free Wisconsin ones, it will be
I think we should
satisfactory.
definitely put it on the ALA. Because
Yeah.
there could be someone who wants to relocate to a beautiful small community.
Yes.
And if we don't reach out to the nation, you know, it'll be harder for someone to see that, I think.
Mhm.
So I
point.
think the WLA, absolutely, the ALA, the listserv that you mentioned, Claire Ellen, and any normal course, maybe you and Mary can work together to say, okay, here's how we're gonna get it out, and we would have to, I guess, board authorize a budget, some spending for this. Just so, because it's not obviously contemplated in the current year's budget. So I don't know. I haven't been in this position before to know how to handle something like this that
I
comes up.
would make I would make a motion to approve up no more than $500 for recruitment for the library director position.
Okay,
Does that include paying his or her expenses to travel here?
no,
Okay,
that's just for advertising the position. I think the issue of, is that something that we've done before? Paid for people to come in, Claire
We've
Ellen?
only recruited 2 in the last 40 years, so there's not really
But Claire Ellen, just in general, I mean, is that?
In
So-
general, it is unlikely that you'll be having someone coming from outside the state. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Sure.
It in my recent postings that has not happened, but even when Nina just hired, for example, they didn't get anyone from out of the state. Oshkosh did. And so they did pay, I believe, for the hotel for that director out of the recruitment firm. They had hired a recruitment firm, and that covered it. Typically, though, you do this first round of interviews and you do them virtually, so you don't have to pay for anything. And then after that first round of virtual interviews, if you really have a candidate who lives in Louisiana, then you guys can have a board meeting to discuss what you want to offer them.
Okay.
And you don't really need to cross that road until
Today, yeah,
is there a
We'll get
motion? Is there a motion that's been put forward by Al?
there has.
I second.
Second, all in favor of the 500, up to $500 to be spent on recruitment? All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one's opposed. Okay.
And that does not include mileage reimbursement or lodging, is that correct?
Not at this point.
Yeah, that's,
Think-
and
I think-
I like the first round virtual. That will help screen out any candidates that, oh boy, why do we waste, like,
Yes,
Bringing them in, yeah.
and it tests their technological savviness. Not
Yeah.
that it's, that they can get on a computer and
show their
join a
face.
link. So that's a test number 1.
Yeah. How you come across
and
that.
And
Yeah.
if they're timely, yep. So I agree with that completely. And then this second and final round could be the top 2 or 3 finalists.
Yeah, bring them in.
Yeah. Mhm.
Claire Ellen, is there anything else that at this juncture you feel would recommend that we consider? Because we are hoping, I mean, the plan is tonight to vote on recruitment and advertisement. So basically, board, that we are accepting the position description, the wage range, that's a tough one, and the recruitment process that's been outlined, that we're in agreement on that. So if there's any other things you think we should be doing or adjusting,
I would set a meeting now while you have everyone here when you want to start reviewing the first round of applicants. And if you want to do that by the full board, if you want to create a personnel committee with a couple of you, boards do go both ways. They say full board, that's our personnel, that's our hiring committee. We're just going to move together as the floor, the 7 of us. Or a hiring committee is created with a city representative, maybe a system representative, with a staff representative, with a couple board representatives. And those are the people who review candidates and who go through the interviewing process. So I saw that in Mary's posting, you said rolling applications. So I don't know if you do want to wait until you say, let's say we have 10 applicants and then you review it, or if you want to set a date, we'll review it at this date. And I
might
think
wanna
Mary's
get
still
in
looking for what you want the job posting and then a timeline of that too.
Yeah, definitely. I think a application deadline is good. And if, let's say, we wanted 10 applicants at least, and we have 5, we can say, application deadline extended, and hopefully that'll get some excitement. Like, oh, maybe I should get in before it's too late, or I don't know. And then we can,
Right.
I mean, the deadline's always good, right? I
Yes.
think,
Right.
like a 2 to
So
3 to
we-
4 week deadline. I don't know.
What's the feeling in the board? I guess I go to the head of personnel first, Al, about the review process of applicants.
Do we have time to think about this, or do we have to make this decision tonight?
I don't think we have to make it tonight.
No.
We can, because we're gonna potentially, so really the things that need to happen is we need to make a motion to accept. It's item number 4 on your agenda, guys. Library director position description, wage range, and recruitment process that includes what we've discussed tonight, not what Claire Ellen is saying. Next step, which would be outside of that, is, okay, now we've got applications. Now what are we going to do with
Right.
those? And we can certainly zoom back in a couple weeks and frame that out, because it's going to take some time. We're going to give some window, right, for applications. How long would that normally be? 2 to
I
3
think
weeks?
2 to 3 weeks.
4
We're gonna
weeks?
promote.
And a
so
4
forth.
over here.
It's up to Mary. It's totally,
Not
I-
up to me. Yeah.
it depends how quickly you can get things out. You could give it to the end of, given that you're gonna have something out on Tuesday, or are you gonna wait until doing the survey? I think that needs to get, there was sort of mixed conversation about that.
We wouldn't have to wait for the survey, would we?
That's
No,
what
I-
Mary said.
The survey really provides insight for us when we are interviewing, and it will be helpful to use that information in the recruiting booklet, but we don't have to put the recruiting booklet out right away. We can simply just do that hiring librarian, and here's a position announcement with the executive summary, pay range, so we could start with that, and then we can build on that. And when we repost it to get people like reminder, we're, deadlines approaching, here's a recruiting booklet that we finalized. So that can come later. We don't have to give out everything at once if we're not ready, because it is happening quite fast.
Yeah. So what we could do, we could look at, this is a possible scenario. If we're in agreement, which we'll take a vote, let's just hypothesizing that we're in agreement with what we discussed tonight about this process. Mary could be in a position with a few minor adjustments to get the job posted right after the holiday. And we could post it, have a deadline, do the 4 weeks as recommended by the experienced person. And in that 4-week period, we could get the results back. So maybe put a 1-week deadline on the survey, get the results back from the survey, maybe you could compile that information for us, Mary.
Mhm.
And then we could move on to the next phase, Al, about how are we gonna move ahead with the applicants process,
So that-
reviewing.
We should be able to put that on the agenda for our meeting on the 24th, correct?
Okay, I think you're right. Yep, let's do that. We'll put it on the agenda, how we're gonna handle, candidate review. Is there a better terminology for this? Claire Ellen? You could,
There is a closed session wording that you want to use in your job posting, and I don't know, I emailed you to review applicants, but I will get that to you again.
okay, so what you're saying is that when we have meetings that we're in closed session. to
When
review-
you are reviewing candidate applications, you should be in closed session. If you're just talking about what the next steps are or creating your committee, that can be in an open session.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about actual people and you're actually looking at resumes, that's going to be in closed session.
Okay. So you're just you're gonna send me the language we need on the agenda for that. But we
Right,
won't.
and those could be the same meeting. I mean, you can have discussion of committee or interviewing committee. That can happen, and then the next bullet, move into closed session to discuss applicants.
Okay,
So-
perfect. That's awesome. That's super helpful. So if we can send the survey out on Tuesday and we can post the job on Tuesday, then we can ask for the surveys back by the 10th. We meet on the 24th. So that gives us, give people till the end of September, maybe that, like you said, that Friday, the 27th to submit their resumes, their applications.
Or you could have it the week before so that you could review applications after your board meeting the 24th, if you're already meeting then.
Okay, so you're saying cut
That
it
is
off.
that's a shorter timeline. That's a little bit less than 3 weeks.
Anybody's thoughts on that? I know we're getting to the bewitching hour. It's been a long one. Anybody's thoughts about that time frame? Do you want to have resumes for our meeting on the 24th?
I honestly think that is too aggressive. It takes some time.
Okay,
We don't know what Mary's got going about getting this survey out. It may not be on the 3rd. We're coming off a holiday and those things.
okay.
We're getting really aggressive here, and I think we're going to fall short if we don't give ourselves ample time to do it properly.
Okay,
That makes sense.
so what does
I
that,
agree with Al.
what does that need to look like, Al? Lay that out then.
So if it's out the week of September 2nd, and we ask for it back no later than the 16th of the survey I'm talking about, the 16th of September. Okay?
Yep,
That's ample time for people to do it, to take care of it, all of those type of things. On the
okay,
24th, we figure out how we're going to interview, what the process is going to be for the people that do apply.
okay,
Whatever the application deadline is, I beg to Mary to set that,
okay.
but we can't, we're getting really aggressive on these timelines, and when you do that, you can be highly disappointed then.
With not getting the right people.
Not
Right.
getting the right people have to think about it. They want to get their materials ready. They may have questions that they're going to, want answers to. All of those things. You don't want to really get too aggressive, in my mind.
Don't want to
Okay,
discourage anybody from thinking it over. It's a good point, Al.
so maybe if it goes out next week, if Mary feels like that's reasonable, how many weeks do you want to have? Do you want to wait until after October 1st or after the 7th? what, you know, because we do want to put a deadline, I think, when she posts the job.
And we can extend the deadline too,
Okay,
if we feel we don't have the right candidates yet. It's up to us. We can reassess that deadline, but just to maybe pressure those who are interested, hey, apply now or you might miss this deadline, you know? Or if you don't, then they may forget, like, what was that job I was gonna apply for? You know, and it might get them thinking, I gotta apply now before, you know, I miss my chance. So that's the idea behind. So, I mean, I think deadline maybe the 30th of September, and then we can extend it if we don't have a good applicant pool. That's just my
I agree.
recommendation.
I agree
Well,
with you.
September
I was
30th.
thirtieth.
Say the 27th, I thought 30th is perfect.
You got the
September-
weekend to do it, right?
Yep, yep,
So that's a
Yep.
Monday.
yep.
Oh, okay, so can I summarize then what Al was saying or what's all been said? There's 2 weeks for the survey results to come back. Send those out after, you know, the beginning of next week, after the holiday. Give 2 weeks. On the 24th at our board meeting, we'll go through the process that we'll be using to handle applicants, whatever that's gonna look like. Full board, a committee of the board, other you know, we'll hash that out at our meeting on the 24th. Mary will have a deadline of September 30th for resumes for applications, and then we'll roll from there. I guess
Sounds good.
we'll figure out at the 24th with our deadline of the 30th, when and who will have the next meeting to go through the applicant pool.
Do we need to vote or just give tacit
I don't-
approval?
I don't think we need to vote on all that. I think what we need to vote on is that we accept the documents that Mary presented, the library director position description, the wage range, and the recruitment process that was outlined tonight.
The booklet's on hold until we figure out if we want to add some survey materials in there to make it more attractive and give more details to the job. So that can come out maybe week 2 or 3, or maybe week 2. We'll
Right.
see.
So what you'll post, Mary, is the position description and that summary, the required experience qualifications, or
Mhm. Just the
one-
very base, yeah, the job
Okay.
announcement, the position description will be available. Yeah, so
I
just.
move we approve the items that Mary has outlined.
as
Second.
outlined in item 4. Okay, we have a second from Travis. Oh, wait, Claire Ellen's got her hand up.
I just wanted to know with Mary Vesley,
Besley.
Leslie,
if you're making changes to the job
Yeah.
profile
The booklet.
the job
Yeah.
booklet, do you want to have this, does the board want to all see it before it gets posted? Or do you want to designate one of the 7 of you to say to Mary, looks good, feel free to post it? Or do you want to just say to Mary, get it to however you want it and then post it? Because that's going to happen before the next time you guys
Yeah.
meet.
Right. And
That shouldn't be really a discussion by email, because then you have a walking quorum issue. So you either should have a meeting 2 weeks from now to look over it as a full board, or designate one of you to say, can be the contact person with Mary on the booklet, or just give Mary full approval.
I vote to give Mary full approval.
Mary
second.
Vesley.
Mary
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, I meant Mary Vesley. Yeah.
Mary Vesley, to just make the changes as discussed.
Yep.
And we don't need to
Yes.
see. Agreed. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Claire Ellen, for that. Okay. So we've got the motion that we're accepting item 4, director position description, wage rate, recruitment. I think All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No opposition. Okay. Wow, that was a barn burner, people. That was awesome.
There was a couple things, as far as job posting on Tuesday, I'm posting on social media and then the ALA, WLA, and where else would you like me to post it? Is that,
Claire Ellen talked about that she could offer posting it on the listserv.
So
okay,
if you get it to me, Mary,
Oh,
I can
okay.
do it at the listserv and I can do WLA and I can get it on the Winnafox website.
perfect. I can just share it with you to get it on there.
Yeah.
And then we have that budget down, so that's awesome. And then I just need contact information for the survey. So I have the library staff, the board of trustees, is that everyone? I guess
Here.
I just need everyone here, and then the Friends of Library, Ripon Library. So I just need like emails. So however we get that to me.
I would say, would that maybe the best person for those emails is gonna be Desiree.
Okay. I'll
ahead,
reach out to
Val.
Desiree for that. All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
sounds
Desiree
good.
sends out the email and then says, please respond to Mary Vesley with, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or who should be distributing that? Should it be me?
I think it should come from you, yes.
Okay, a neutral person, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Anything else?
I move we adjourn. Thank you for everybody.
Yeah, everybody, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Claire Ellen. That was your input was invaluable. And
Thanks
Mary,
for inviting me.
for all the
and-
work that you did. Yes.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank
Would
you
you like
all.
me to attend the 24th meeting?
Sure.
It's up to you.
Sure. I'm sure that would be helpful to us.
Right.
Sure.
I
That
will
would be-
do so.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good luck, everyone. Bye.
Good
Thanks, Mary.
night. Thank